What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. Make sure y'all hit that like button as you come in. So, we got some unfortunate news. We know the WBA, World Boxing Association, have essentially stripped 8-division world champion, legendary, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pacquiao, who is currently the WBA welterweight super champion. The WBA informed Manny Pacquiao that they were indeed going to put him in recess, essentially telling him that they're going to strip him of the title. With that said, this news did not make the other major sanction bodies, the other three major sanction bodies, very happy. You have the IBF, you have the WBC, and the WBO. And according to the board, the World Boxing News, WBN, they are not going to recognize the WBA as a major sanction body anymore due to the fact that they stripped Manny Pacquiao, okay? Now, the WBA had informed Manny Pacquiao after he beat Keith Thurman, former unified WBC, WBA welterweight world champion superstar boxer. They fought. The WBC stripped Keith Thurman of his belt because of inactivity. The WBA allowed him to keep the belt, and he essentially defended it against Manny Pacquiao July of 2019. With that said, Manny Pacquiao has been inactive since then. Then reports surfaced that Manny Pacquiao was engaging in negotiations that if he indeed proceeded forward with looking to stage a showdown with UFC legendary, iconic superstar Conor McGregor in a crossover sport event, that Manny Pacquiao would be stripped of his WBA title because he needed to defend it against somebody in their top 10 ranking system, okay? Then we know that fell through. So we know that Floyd Mayweather, legendary rival of Manny Pacquiao, retired 50-0, former 5-division world champion, former pound-for-pound king, he fought Conor McGregor in a crossover fight. But we got to understand, Floyd Mayweather was not holding one of the 4 major sanction bodies, okay? He was not affecting the ranking system when that took place. Manny Pacquiao is affecting the ranking system. So the WBA informed him that he must indeed defend it against somebody in their top 10 ranking system before proceeding with these types of matches. Well, that fell through as Conor McGregor fought against Dustin Poirier in a rematch, and he was knocked out in that fight in the second round. So with that stated, right, that fight fell through. Then it seemed that Manny Pacquiao would fight 4-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia, but Manny Pacquiao has since chose to go in a different direction. Now he's going to have a 10-round exhibition with 135-pound lightweight rising Mexican superstar title contender King Ryan Garcia, April 24th. So with that stated, the WBA has had enough, and they said, well, you're not looking to be serious while holding this belt, and we're going to put you in recess, a.k.a. we're going to strip you of the belt, okay? And for further notice down the line, we'll move you to the to the front of the line if you indeed want to challenge for the belt back, okay? Well, the other 3 major sanction bodies aren't happy, and neither is the DBN, the World Boxing News, okay? And the World Boxing News has informed the boxing world that they are no longer going to recognize the WBA as a major sanction body. They're not going to proceed with that, okay? So they stated that due to the fact that the WBA informed them and let them know that they were proceeding and trying to eliminate all of these belts in the sport of boxing and having one sole champion per division, the WBA committed to that, and they did not stick to their commitment, and they elevated Manny Pacquiao, and they're upset because they are saying that they knew that Manny Pacquiao at this point in time was dealing with helping people due to the global pandemic that's going on worldwide. So to strip him of the belt and elevate and make one champion in a division, the welterweight division, was not correct. See, so that is an oxymoron to say the least, because if you're upset that the WBA is adding belts, well, they didn't add a belt, they removed the belt, because you had 2 champions in the welterweight division. You had the WBA super champion and Manny Pacquiao and the WBA regular champion. And so they are saying that the WBA promised that they would do away with the regular champion, the unpopular regular champion in the sport of boxing per division, and only have one champion. Well, that's what they did. They removed Manny Pacquiao from being the champion. They have one champion. They elevated in Yordenis Ugas, who was the regular champion, to the super champion. So essentially, they did away with the regular champion, and there's only one face. It's Yordenis Ugas. Essentially, what's taking place is that they were not happy that Manny Pacquiao, who was a big face, who is a icon and a moneymaker, a cash cow in the sport of boxing, was removed as the face of one of the sanction bodies. And the WBA actually did the correct thing in this situation. They are upset. So now they are voting to not recognize the WBA as one of the 4 major sanction bodies. But yet, we know, so they had to address the fact that the WBC, World Boxing Council, they introduced a franchise champion, okay? So now get this. They have Canelo Alvarez as a franchise champion and Teofimo Lopez as a franchise champion. If any belt sanctioned body is adding and causing more confusion to the sport of boxing, it would be the WBC, okay? So with that said, they address the franchise and they say, hopefully the WBC will eliminate the franchise belt when Canelo Alvarez retires. So they are essentially going to wait around until Canelo Alvarez retires before they decide to address the issue with too many belts coming from the WBC. But when it comes from the WBA, doing the correct thing and essentially eliminate one of the champions in the division, they are saying that they want to vote to not recognize them as one of the major sanction bodies. This is the issue with the sport of boxing. So you want to penalize the WBA for doing the correct thing, and you're going to sit around and wait for the WBC to allow one of the fighters that they created a more issue. They have a silver, they have a diamond, they have a regular, they have a super, they have a franchise. They have 5 belts in an intercontinental, right? They have 6 belts in per weight class. And the council wants to eliminate the WBA for having one recognized champion per division, eliminating the belt. But they saying the issue was that they wanted to eliminate the regular, and because the WBA didn't stick to their promise, that they want to dismiss them as one of the major 4 sanction bodies. And from here on out, they're saying that a unification bout that includes the WBA will not be recognized as a WBA unification bout, And if the WBA is included in undisputed, it will not be recognized as undisputed. But yet, nobody had an issue when Teofimo Lopez was recognized as undisputed, and you had platforms as big as ESPN continuously addressing him as undisputed. When he holds a franchise belt, that's not even a regular belt. Okay, that's not an official belt. But yet they want to not recognize the WBA for doing the correct thing and eliminating the confusion with Manny Pacquiao, Yordenis Ugas. And they want to cite that it wasn't right because Manny Pacquiao was helping out people in his country during the pandemic. So why would they essentially make this move? Well, this is the move that should be made regardless from everybody, because Manny Pacquiao is not exempt from anybody that's going through a global pandemic currently right now. There are other fighters. Errol Spence just fought. Terrence Crawford just fought. Danny Garcia just fought. Sean Porter just fought. Jaron Ennis just fought and fighting again. Virgil Ortiz fought and fighting again. So the welterweight division is only held up by one guy who's not fighting. And that is a choice made by Manny Pacquiao to run for Senate and other political positions in his country, knowing he's active in a certain sport in the United States. That's nobody else's fault. Yordenis Ugas is active. So that's nobody else's fault that Manny Pacquiao chose that position. That's Manny Pacquiao's choice. So he cannot hold up the division because he made a choice, whether that be right or wrong, right? Yes, he's trying to help people due to the global pandemic, but this is nothing new. So Manny Pacquiao chose to be in the position that he's in. And so he gets to hold on to the belt for as long as he so chooses, because he chose to run for Senate and do politics in his country. but everybody else has to be active. No, he gets to not follow the rules, and everybody else has to follow the rules according to the WBN. Okay, so this is, in my opinion, horrible to say the least. Okay, so they're saying World Boxing News no longer recognizes the WBA as a sanctioned body. This is what they're stating. Okay, so this is what they're stating. Quote, due to circumstances dating back to 2013, Vice President and soon-to-be President Gilberto Mendoza promised WBN he would eradicate the unpopular regular, they put it in quotations, belts. Mendoza was adamant he would move to crown one sole champion per division. It didn't happen. Things became a lot more cloudy with the addition of the WBA Gold Championship a few years ago. Never mind the franchise belt that was included and introduced to the world by the WBC for no apparent reason. Add to the situation regarding the heavyweight division, plus the inconsistency in the rankings and titles WBN has moved to act. Okay, what about the inconsistency from the WBC? There isn't one sanction body that's more inconsistent than the WBC. Stripping Manny Pacquiao of his belt, calling it champion in recess, at the same time adding Bermain Stavern to their top 15 rating was the last straw. Okay, what about the franchise belt introduced to Teofimo Lopez after the WBC introduced it for Canelo Alvarez, said you cannot win or lose it, and then Vasyl Lomachenko is franchised, then Vasyl Lomachenko loses to Teofimo Lopez, and then the WBC says, well, we are going to elevate and recognize Teofimo Lopez as the franchise champion after their rules stated that you cannot win or lose it because essentially it's a trophy. It's not an actual title. Okay, so that don't matter. But the fact that the WBC is elevating Bermain Stavern, that's a huge issue, and that was the last straw. Okay? Pacquiao was helping his country fight for the pandemic and Senate, and he was due to fight in 2021. The WBA should have understood this matter. The WBA should have understood this matter. Okay, then they go into Bermain Stavern. Now, World Boxing Association removal. All WBA belts will now be removed from the WBN championship list, and unifications will not be recognized if it involves the WBA belt and only one of the other three major sanction bodies. Undisputed will only be acknowledged if it's between the WBC, IBF, and WBO champions. The latter still has work to do on being a par with the WBC and the IBF. A future scenario could arise where the WBN will consider only the WBC and the IBF, conversation remaining ongoing. So now they're looking to remove the WBO as well, right? But you keep the WBC, who causes the most confusion in the sport of boxing. They still at top, okay? Money makes the world go round. Okay, the WBO have gradually added more belts to their roster over the years, with the WBO Global now seemingly gathering worrying pace with promoters. A WBC addition of franchise status has also raised more questions than answers. Hopefully that will disband when Canelo retires, end quote. Then they say, at the present, only the IBF seems to be getting it right, end quote. Okay. So they are willing to sit around and wait for Canelo Alvarez to retire before they take action. But the WBA doing the right thing and eliminating one of the belts and elevating your Danis Ugas, and your Danis Ugas, see, here's the issue. Now you're going to have Errol Spence going to a unification bout with your Danis Ugas. And now they have an issue because they want Manny Pacquiao to be the face of this sanction body. This is what's wrong with this corrupt sport of the sport of boxing that we have today. So they are willing to sit on their hands and allow Canelo Alvarez to mosey through the sport, Teofimo Lopez to mosey through the sport, no action taken. Who's creating more confusion in the sport of boxing than the WBC? But yet, they said that they would narrow it down to only the WBC and the IBF. Because over the years, the WBO has added more belts as well. Again, who has created more issues and more confusion within the sport of boxing than the WBC? Sorry, WBN, but we are still, as fans of the sport of boxing, as media of the sport of boxing, we are still going to recognize the WBA as a major sanction body. Sorry. That's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.